I go to school in a big city that is one of the least safest cities in the US. I chose this school for nursing and definitely not for the location. I live in a row house, off campus with 4 other girls. Cheaper and nicer than dorms. Or so we thought. I guess you get what you pay for. We are all girls and sophomores in college. As you would guess, we go out and drink, come back to do things we don't remember. We had just started our rent in August, 3 floors plus a basement, which was padlocked by the owners. Understandable. We would definitely have parties down there to avoid immediate cleanup. The house was great, amazing location to the school and work. I am a CNA who works odd hours. It was not expensive and in good condition. I had never lived with that many people before. Just one roommate, so earlier we definitely knew if one of us had misplaced or changed something. I started to notice my snacks were either half gone or completely gone. I was getting annoyed, but with a house of so many people, it's too much work to go figure out who ate what. So I ignored it. Slowly, as girls do, we started making comments about someone eating our food, but passive-aggressively. You know, college girls. We all just let it go, because who wants a whole house fight? I work until about 11 in the neonatal intensive care unit. Get home at about 11:30, mostly on weeknights. I started to notice pans left out or snack wrappers lying around. I thought it was odd as none of my roommates had done that earlier, but just thought, oh, they probably drank a bottle of wine. I then went to bed and forgot about all this. Again, my roommates started making comments. This time, we started to ask because it was getting annoying with all our food being gone and things being left like that. I knew it was one of them, but who wants to admit they ate someone else's snacks in college? Snacks are a high commodity. We chalked it up to the girl who always smokes and eats her weight in food. She swore it wasn't her. This went on for about 2 months. It got more obvious. Someone was clearly taking everyone's food. Definitely the girl that always smokes. I see her eat her whole snack pantry in a night. I wish it was her. One night at work, I was about to get off, but a situation happened and I didn't end up leaving until 12:30. I took the bus home. I got home and wanted to go to bed ASAP as I was about to collapse. When you walk in the front door, the stairs are directly in front of you. You can also see down the side into the kitchen. I walked in and saw someone in the kitchen, but was way too tired to say hi. Thinking it could end up like a 30-minute conversation about nothing, I went straight upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I noticed all of my roommates' doors were closed, which always means they are all either in their room for the night or asleep. I got a weird feeling, just something that made it click. They were all asleep, right? I texted our house group chat asking if anyone was in the kitchen. I felt stupid for even asking. 2 responded no, and they said that the other 2 had been asleep. I knew it wasn't any of my roommates down there at that moment. I dialed 911, but didn't press call. I crept into my roommate's room across the hall. Thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, she didn't have her door locked. I whispered, telling her I think someone is in the house. She gave me the widest eyes ever and almost looked like she was going to cry. She didn't suspect anything like I had, but for reference, this was a very bad area. There was a shooting in the house 2 doors down, only weeks earlier by an intruder. She gestured to make the call. The whole time we were dead silent, we didn't hear really anything at all. I was starting to think I was seeing things after such a long day at work and was regretting that I dialed, thinking I'm going to look like an idiot when the cops show up, and I was just overtired and dreaming. I explained what's going on to the 911 operator, and she said they will send someone ASAP. And that actually does mean right away since it is a big and dangerous city. The police showed up, and I didn't even want to go downstairs, but the operator confirmed it was them, so I did. But the whole time, I could swear the operator could hear my heart beating. The police came in and looked around. I was thinking, oh God, I will look so dumb. They asked if there are any other floors. We told them technically the basement, but it's padlocked, so really no. They checked the basement just in case. And well, yeah, they were right. A man had been living in the padlocked basement. The lock was pulled off the hinges and just kind of propped against the wall. We never looked at that though. We rarely went out back. The guy had taken a comforter of one of my roommates out of the hall closet, had a mattress from God knows where, and his clothes. Well, he was the one moving and eating all of our stuff. He would come out in the middle of the night and do it. He started getting more comfortable. I don't know if he was drugged out or forgot to clean his tracks, or if he didn't really care. Me and my roommates had pretty consistent schedules during the week, probably letting him think that at any time after 12 was good to come out. We never slept with our individual doors locked, and that's what freaks me out the most. He had access to any one of us at any moment, and we had no idea. A little backstory. When I was 19, I lived with my mom in a ranch-style house on a road that backed up to a large field. On the other side was the main highway. About half a mile down from me was a loony farmer, and about a mile on the other side of me was pretty much a crack house. I guess someone used to live there, but it was run down. I will say that the crackheads were pretty quiet. Other than those two houses, we were isolated. At the time, I was working full-time and going to school full-time. One of my classes ended at 10:30 p.m. I often wouldn't get home that day of the week until about 11:15ish. I was driving home one night and I noticed some guy walking down the road. He had a yellow shirt and track pants. I remember his outfit because it was stupid. It wasn't weird to see people walking down my road because of the whole crack house thing, but I instinctively looked over at him when I drove past. He turned and smiled and waved, which freaked me out. So I speeded the half-mile home and pulled into the driveway, weirded out. I made sure all the doors and windows were secure and then sat on the couch to be a paranoid freak and waited to make sure the dude walked past my house. Except he didn't. And there was another guy with him, dressed in darker clothes. They actually walked up my driveway and started playing around with my car, testing the handles and stuff. In my hurry earlier, I forgot to grab my phone from the car, so I was kind of worried that's what they were after until the guy in yellow started approaching my door. I was freaking out, so I went and woke my mom up. She was bleary and I was trying to explain the situation when we both heard the doorknob turn very slowly. Good thing it was deadbolted. She got out of the bed, walked to the door, and then the guy in yellow shirt knocked. I perched up on the couch so I could get a good look at him and his friend, still in the driveway. The porch light was on because of the sensor. "Yeah?" my mom said. He replied, "You dropped your wallet." I told my mom that I had my wallet. It was in my purse. So she calmly told him that she had her wallet and it was too late to be knocking on people's doors. I remember perfectly what he said next, even though this was about 6 years ago. "Okay, I'm not a bad guy, just so you know." We were all pretty still. No one moved, not even the guy at the door, not even when the porch light went off. Then he tried the doorknob again. My mom told me to call the cops while she could get the gun. I told her I didn't have my phone, so she walked to the kitchen to grab hers from the charger. She handed me the phone and walked to the bathroom, stared out the window into the backyard. Then she went to her room to grab her handgun. I was talking to the cops and explaining the situation, all while watching the two guys, explaining that there were two suspicious guys at our door, when my mom came back out and said, "One in our backyard too," which explained why she had looked out the bathroom window. She glimpsed him from the kitchen and went to get a more discreet look. My mom walked back over to the door with her gun and loudly said, "If he tries the handle again, I'm just going to open the door and shoot him." God knows why she said that instead of waiting for the cops to arrive, but the guys took off down the road. I told her, and she rushed to the bathroom, where the guy apparently in the backyard saw his friends running down the road and sprinted off too. They were going in the direction of the crack house. The cops searched our house and our yard, then went to the drug house, where they found 5 guys hanging around. One was the yellow shirt guy, and I'm assuming his friends were with him. They did get arrested, and nothing weird like that ever happened again. But I was on edge for a while. I still make sure the doors are locked at all times every day, even though I live in a much nicer area now. Last year, my fiance and my mom passed away, one right after the other. After they died, I obviously fell into a deep depression. Though I thought I was pulling off the whole "I'm fine" thing, my friends could clearly see through that. A close friend almost demanded I move in with her and get out of the apartment I shared with my fiance for 10 years. She wanted me to start fresh, and while I didn't think I was ready to move on, the idea of not living alone was appealing. Plus, her apartment is in a much nicer neighborhood than the one I was currently living in, so I agreed. Living with her has been fantastic. Our schedules are opposite, me on days, her on nights, so we both get alone time, but we also have at least one day a week off together so we can hang out. Moving has also allowed me to be able to walk to work as it's so close. I thought that would be a godsend until my 10-minute walk caused a 2-month-long nightmare. One evening after work, I decided to sit in the park that's between my apartment and my job. As I'm sitting there, a man approached me. I saw his face first. He was almost handsome, if not a little rough-looking. Even though I live in an urban area with a high homeless population, it didn't occur to me that this man was anything but a mildly handsome 40-something guy. So I smiled and looked back down at my phone, expecting him to walk on by me. Nope. He stopped. He asked me what time it was, and when I looked up to tell him, I noticed all the stuff he was carrying. It was so random. A kid's chalkboard with nonsense all over it, a paper bag full of old magazines and paperwork, and a steel shelf that at one point would have held CDs. I then noticed he wasn't wearing shoes and his hands were filthy. Needless to say, it finally dawned on me that this was not going to be a normal encounter. He started talking non-stop, some of it nonsense, but some coherent. But all of it was crazy. Of the parts I could follow, he told me he had just been released from prison and he was looking for a tattoo shop because he wanted to get F the Department of Corrections and 34, the number of DOC violations he had while in prison, tattooed on him, and he wanted the DOC to pay for it. He then noticed a button I had on my bag that had the logo for a local gay bar on it. He told me he had gone there one night and went home with a guy. Then he looked me up and down and said, "But young ladies are my problem." I gathered my stuff and left immediately. Now, I love this apartment, but it has its drawbacks, which became glaringly obvious after this encounter. The apartment is on the first floor. I love it because you can walk out the sliding glass doors, one in the living room and one in my bedroom, right on to an awesome gated patio that has tables and grills for barbecuing. So it's amazing in the summer. I now hate it because it's right on the street and the fencing is clearly very easy to scale. One very early morning, around 5 a.m., I hear a man scream, "What the hell are you doing?" So loud and so close it woke me up from a dead sleep. I actually thought it was coming from somewhere in my bedroom. As it turned out, it was coming from outside. A neighbor had been leaving for work and discovered a man sleeping against my sliding glass door. The guy got scared off. My neighbor checked on me, and once I calmed down, I chalked it up to a messed up coincidence. 2 weeks later, I was sleeping, and at some point, this man came on the patio and was now tapping on my sliding glass door. I honestly just laid there, frozen in fear, until it escalated to full-blown kicking the glass. I turned the light on to grab my phone and he took off. I called the police and they came over to take the report. When they looked at footage from the cameras in the building, the footage confirmed it was the man from the park. And more disturbingly, the footage from the hallway cameras showed that on more than one occasion, he had slipped in the building behind a resident and sat in the lobby for several hours. And at one point, going down the hallway and trying my doorknob and my neighbor's doorknob to see if they were locked. He even went so far as to hide in the little mailbox room when he saw my roommate coming in from work. The police thought he either followed me from the park or had just happened to notice me at one point when I was on the patio. It's been a few weeks, and I haven't seen him, and no one has reported seeing him in or around the building. My roommate bought me pepper spray, and my kinda kooky, albeit well-meaning, neighbor, who has made it very clear he's retired military and a bit of a gun nut, checks on me nightly, so I'm not as freaked out as I could be. But still, crazy guy from the park? Let's not meet again.